Hello, Heather. How are you today?
Hey Flora, I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. What have you been up to today? You said you've already had a jam-packed day. No pun intended.
Yeah, just, regular, exhausting running household and mom stuff. Made plans for my daughter to do something fun with a friend, already went grocery shopping, took my little dog to get a haircut, and now I'm you.
Here you are. Thanks. Well, okay, so I know that you are Jam's sister.
Hmm.
And you're so much more. You're a mom, you're a website builder. I hear you're a project manager. Tell us a little bit about who you are.
Hi, I'm Heather. I am Jam's sister. I'm her older sister. I'm 4 years older than her. My background is actually in film production. And
Oh,
so I
wow.
did that for a long time. And I used to be a post producer for Food Network shows in another life. That was fun until it wasn't fun. Like it's actually pretty repetitive and it's like it's fun to talk about at parties, but wasn't really like stimulating to me. And I had this moment. I was almost 30 and I was looking around the building and the industry I was in and I was thinking, there's not a lot of women in their 40s doing this, like they're at all, unless they own their own companies, which is not something I'm really interested in doing. And so I thought about that a lot over the next few years and ended up kind of pivoting into project management, which is totally production adjacent anyway, right? Like if you're a post producer working with editors, it's not that hard to pivot to be a project manager working with developers, other than the technical learning curve.
Other than that.
Yeah. I started out my career working with Jam. 15 years ago, she had a company that made Magento e-commerce websites, and I left my TV production job to go work with her there. And so that's how I kind of jumped
Cool.
right into the fire of digital project management. It was really fun. We turned out a lot of good work, met a lot of cool designers. I learned a ton about development. And then I went on to work at a global agency that had offices all over the world, five across North America, and I ended up leading the digital team in America.
Cool.
So San Francisco, Denver, Cincinnati, and New York. Oh my gosh, I'm forgetting one. There were five offices. That agency no longer exists. It was acquired. But it was fun and it was like a full service agency. So I learned a lot about marketing there as well because they did print ads, billboards, TV commercials, like really everything, even though
Yeah.
I was in the digital department. And then from there, I moved on to a fully digital agency that only worked on anything you interact with on a screen. So apps, they did a couple of cool light projects for universities, like
Wow.
programmed lighting and stuff like that. And I worked with a big team of digital project managers, which was new to me, and I learned a lot from them, and they were amazing. Um, and then about a year ago, I decided I didn't really want to work at a full-time agency anymore. It's just not like the chapter in my life that I'm looking for. So I went freelance. I've been a freelance project manager for about a year
Cool.
and was just chatting with Jam the other day and talking about how, she has some people who would like to have websites and she just doesn't have the capacity to take it on. So I was like, well,
Yeah.
I can help. I know how to make them. I know a lot about marketing and I like working directly with clients. So is that a
So
good recap?
what kind of people, what kind of clients are you most excited to help?
Well, so one of the things I've always really enjoyed about working at agencies is the ability to meet people in a lot of different industries. So if you worked in-house, you might only be involved in one product. But I've worked for clients that do aerospace, aluminum packaging. I worked for one of my clients was Sealed Air, and they invented bubble wrap, and
Oh, wow.
they also produce like the bags that IVs drip from in hospitals, and like the special kind of plastic that butchers wrap meat in at grocery stores. Like it seems like oh, a plastics company, and then you're like they make so much stuff that I interact with often,
Yeah.
and so I find it interesting learning about all these different industries, right? I worked for healthcare companies, I worked for beer companies. But what I really, really like is trying to connect with the person I'm working with and figure out like why. Why are we doing this project? And, it could be a lot of different reasons. It could be we can't handle all of this incoming calls with questions to our customer service, right? Like our website has to have something that will answer these questions so people stop calling so often. So that's a why. Or it could be, hey, we have a huge stakeholder meeting on September 1st and we have to present something new in our new brand. And so that's more about like image and what it will look like to the board. And so finding out what the why is could be anything. So you asked what type of people I like working with. I don't think that matters to me as much, but if I can dig in and find out why they need the thing, then I can do a better job and I can make them successful. And I can also make suggestions like, that might pivot from their original direction or
Right.
idea, right? Like, I can see your vision is this, but if we did it this way, it might actually be better for your goal. And I think that's really important.
Yeah, very cool. So, okay, if you could have a tagline, what would it be?
Oh, okay. I
I know
think
that's a hard one. I wouldn't know either. Sorry.
well, in project management, we talk a lot about like hard skills and soft skills. And so hard skills would be learning how to do a project management system, learning about QA, learning the CMS and like things that you can be taught in a classroom. And the soft skills are just kind of like your personality and how you interact with people. You can learn and grow that part, but it's a little bit harder to do. So if I had a tagline, I'd probably be known as a PM who leans more into my soft skills,
Cool.
and client empathy. It's not a very good tagline, but that's sort of the idea I would go
So I like
for.
it. Heather, project manager that leans into soft skills and client empathy. I like it. It works.
It's a little long. I'll workshop it, but
Okay.
something along those lines would be good.
So what makes you I think we might have even answered that, but I'd love to learn, like dig into this a little bit more. What makes you different from other website builders out there? And do you think it's because you lean into those soft skills and dig into that why and come with empathy?
Yeah, I'm not just going to like wait for you to give me a list of things to do. I want to learn about your business and what's important to you and what our goals are and make suggestions from there. So I think a lot of websites are similar, right? You have a lot of similar elements, but the custom parts and the things that work for your business are what make it really important. So if you have a unique client funnel or you have like I think I was just talking with somebody who, teaches language courses online. So and two manufacturing companies that have big teams that, need an ESL coach, which is really a cool job, but that's like very specific, right? So learning about an industry like that and finding like how do you find those customers to me is so much more interesting than like, well, we'll just build an about page and like people will come to it. So I want to know the whys and then I can help you figure out the hows.
Yeah. And I think you touched on something that we're hearing more of in sales and marketing. Oftentimes we might think our why is, well, we want more customers. But like, why?
Why?
Because we
Yeah,
have this
exactly.
product. Well, but why do you have this product? Well, because
Exactly.
there's this need. Okay, let's dig into that need. Oh,
Exactly.
actually, my why is here. So that's cool. And it's,
100%. And that's what some of the agents that Jam builds do. And I think that's really cool that people can kind of dig in and step back and think about their businesses in like a bigger picture way. And
yeah.
then will help us build a website that's more successful and like catered to their why. So
I mean, even going back to ICPs, ideal customer profiles, or ideal client profiles, it's, well, who are you selling to? Anyone who will buy my product? No, let's really figure out who's buying your product or
mhm.
your service, and then we can target them specifically. Totally. So,
Totally. Yeah.
how do I mean, a website, it's very, you think of a website, you think aesthetically pleasing. Within your philosophy, how do you balance looking good with actually working for a business?
That's a really good question. And for me, it kind of falls in line with thinking about sales versus marketing. And so I think that there's a blurry line between the two. They're both important. And so what really is it? So to me, marketing is kind of like inviting people to the party, like come this way. And so that's the aesthetic of a website. A website really straddles that line between sales and marketing more than most other small business tools, right? And so the aesthetic pulls you in, the ads bring you in, the emails, the lead magnets, that brings you into the party. And then once you're on the site, you have users that are interested, and that's when you get more into like the sales part of it. And some people are actually selling on their website, and some people just, their call to action would be to like reach out for more information. So there's a wide gamut of what a conversion means for people.
Totally.
But I think making sure your website gets people to that conversion spot and like puts them through the right steps to understand how you can help them is really getting into the sales piece. Did I answer your question? I feel like I might have taken a left turn somewhere in
No,
there.
no, no, no.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, really that balance between looking good and what actually works, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, okay, so this is something that I can't touch on enough, and I probably say it in almost every podcast or like any chance anyone I get to talk to anyone.
Okay.
So, in the beginning in 2023, Jam used to really say, like, we're doing AI, we're using AI, we're powering our sales and our marketing and our business with AI, we're automating things with AI to make time for being more human. And
Totally.
that resonates with me so much, right? Like we're all moms here, and
Mhm.
I I can't tell you. I mean, I can. Like, you get it. Like, spending time with my kids is more important to me, even though I love, my clients and my businesses and than sitting and creating a funnel, right? So if I'm able to use AI to automate creating this funnel so I can actually go spend time with things that I can't automate, that's what
Yep.
I want to do, right? And that's something we preach, we teach a lot because there is that balance. And we don't believe and we don't support in automating everything because we don't want to lose that touch of being human, right? So when some people think of like an AI powered website, I mean there are tools out there that you can just like click on and be like, I want a website about dog bones, and it'll make a website on dog bones. So
Right.
with you're a human. Um,
Mhm.
how are you coming in and finding that balance between being powered by AI and really that human touch?
That's a really good question. The first thing I thought of was like that's one of the reasons why I became a freelance project manager because agencies, historically their reputation is overworking people, and that's pretty true. So I just got to a point where 50-hour weeks like wasn't something I could do anymore and still enjoy my life. And so one part of that was just kind of like stepping back into my own business, doing my own thing, and partnering with people like Jam and, a few other clients that I help out, between 10 to 15 hours a week. And I just have a few of those, and that's so much easier for me.
Totally.
How AI plays into that, I think, has varied. And I read a lot about like the pushback or how it takes away a bit of a human side, but I really disagree because when I talk with AI, I do talk with AI. I kind of treat it
Totally.
like, but
One of my best friends.
I know, me too. But I find like it's a little bit of a sycophant, you know what I mean? Like no matter what you say or what idea you have, it's like, yes, girl, vibes. Like let's do
Yes.
that. And
You
so
cannot be
you
wrong with ChatGPT.
no, like it loves anything that you're doing, which is so nice, but it also means like you have to kind of know what you're doing to start out with and guide it and be able to make smart prompts in order to get what you want out of it.
Yeah,
Like you can just chat with it and it'll be like, yes, girl, like do the thing. But if you really want to like do marketing, I think, look the why, it comes back to the why. Like AI is not going to tell you the why. AI is not going to come up with your own vision, but it can
yeah.
support you and it can help you get there in a lot less time, like a lot less man hours. So yeah.
Yeah, because even, I mean, even 5, 10 years ago, building a website was like this extraordinate cost, extraordinate. I just combined words. Y'all get it.
I know what you mean.
Thanks.
Yeah.
This massive cost, and now, you're able to really create something beautiful that really highlights the why and be efficient about it.
100%. And I think, yeah, there's always going to be a range. People definitely still spend a ton of money on websites, depending on who and what they are, and if you're across markets and languages and stakeholders and boards and yada yada. But for most small businesses, I think, yeah, just digging into that why and figuring out a smart way to get to your users and your customer base a little bit faster, that's what it's all about. And it is more affordable than it's ever been. And it doesn't take as long as it used to either. I think along with AI, there's awesome tools like I use Canva often
Yeah.
for design, and the way that I can build a brand design and pull in elements so quickly has been a huge game changer for me.
Instead of having to like work with a graphic designer or be a graphic designer. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, now that we're really exploring more of this AI website, these AI, you just touched on Canva. People are really needing to know less code, right?
Mhm.
And that's kind of this new game changer. So, what do people need to know to come and work with you?
I think I keep repeating myself, but it's the vision, right? It's like the why are you doing this? What are you doing? How do you want to meet people and help them with whatever service or product you're providing? And so you have to have that. Also great if you have already purchased a URL and have a
Okay.
company name and like a sense of your brand. If you don't, I can help you work through that, but that's nice to come to the table with. And I think that's really the main thing. I mean, we can work through a lot of stuff together. I think on the strategy call, which is where we start every website project, there's a lot of information that can come to light, and there's always something more to talk about. But it's hard to say generally, like on a podcast, like what that would be for everybody. But we
Totally.
definitely dig in and try to get to the whys so I can help you with the hows.
Yeah, no, I love that. The why. That's beautiful. That's your tagline. There you go. Um, so this is another question I bring up often because it's something I'm a big personal and professional believer in, and it goes
Mhm.
back to the jam method, and that is just start, automate, and monetize, right? And I'm really stuck on this just start thing because to me, personally, when someone has an idea, to me, it really just makes sense to just put that next step forward and just go with that idea. I get teased from my loved ones because sometimes it's like, hey, hold on, you just like explored that idea 3 seconds ago. Now you have like a business plan 40 minutes later. Like what just happened, So, but to me, I
Mhm.
don't understand why people don't just start, right? So and I touch on that a lot. I talk to people about like their personal philosophy on this just start. I'm going to ask you something a little different, and I do feel there's connection there.
Yeah.
So, what is your message to someone who's been putting off building their website or relaunching their website for months? What is your message to them?
I'm gonna I'm pausing because I totally understand why people don't just start. That's me for sure. And I think like the reasons I wouldn't just start or I haven't in the past is just, like, well, I'm not a total expert in that topic, or I should learn more about XYZ before, I think I'm cool enough to sell this one thing. Um, and so I understand the hesitation. I really do. I think if you have a good idea, one thing that's really great about websites is that they're kind of living, breathing things and they change all the time. So you can start with your website, just start with your website in one
Yeah.
place with one idea, and that might evolve,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
brands and websites and offerings like those things evolve all of the time. They'll grow with you as you become an expert and as you learn the things. And I get inspired by Jam with that often because I'm a person that would totally just like sit and I want to get straight A's in a class about something before I feel like I can do it. And she just she jumps in on anything she does, and it's really inspiring and has kind of helped me to try and do the same. And so I have to tell myself like, hey, it will evolve. But it's true. And just starting is what else can you do? Like that's the
Yeah.
only option.
Right?
Yeah.
So, Jam helps our clients and our members with the ideas. Heather's here now to make your site actually work smart, stylish, answer your why, and where can people get started and work with you?
If you go on Jamout.ai, there's a website services page. It kind of outlines, we've broken it down into three tiers that we think would be most common needs amongst the users, but those may grow and evolve too. We'll see how
Of
it
course,
goes.
yeah.
And if you need something more specific, we can talk about that. There's a link there for to schedule a free consultation with me, so that would be the first place to start. So schedule it. Let's chat. Let's see how I can help you build your website and if we can dig in on your why a little bit and get started.
Very cool. Heather, thank you so much for your time today. I'm really excited to see, what not only what websites come out of this, but what stories of businesses we're able to, learn from and we're excited to have you on the team and I look forward to working with you more.
Thanks, Laura. I'm excited to work with you too. So thanks. We'll talk soon.
Talk soon. Bye.
Bye.